Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture.
And I am a dollar store Simon Miller action figure from WhatCulture.
And this is the news.
Oh, very nice. So, we've got some very nice stories for you today.
Yeah.
Story number one. WWE may have just spoiled their own Hall of Fame 2019 class headliner.
Unquestionably.
Bunch of silly sausages. What they did yesterday was
Someone's getting fired.
Someone's getting their ass kicked. Their wig split. Mark Henry, all that stuff.
It's not Mark Henry.
It's not. It definitely wasn't Mark Henry. He's really hard and he'd get away with it. They circulated an email yesterday advertising the old episodes of Superstars that have been uploaded to the network. In that email was mention of the Undertaker as a Hall of Fame inductee. Now, they have since corrected that email. A lot of these emails are, you get like a basic one, you click on a link and all the stuff is there. They've changed it now so that the Undertaker is no longer there. But obviously you can't delete what thousands and thousands of people have received. So, do we read into this? Do we think that the Undertaker is the inductee, given that he hasn't retired and they don't really induct people who are still active?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. A lot of people have been asking for it and a lot of people have been speculating this could be his year, at least either this year or possibly next year.
Yeah.
I just love the image of the sort of staff employee at WWE who just hits send and then immediately goes, no. Because we've all done it.
Yeah.
We've all sent things to people we aren't supposed to.
Sent to the wrong Slack thread.
But I can just imagine someone getting a little phone call afterwards and going, Hall of Famer, have we announced that yet? Or look, I think it's probably for the best for the Undertaker to go into the Hall of Fame.
Oh God, yeah.
I think we all want to see him at WrestleMania. If you're going to WrestleMania this year, you want to see him if you've never seen him live before. But we can all tell it's very much winding down for him, and you want to just wrap this up. And to put him into the Hall of Fame is the best way to do that.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's a legend. He's been there for 400 years. He's got the most famous gimmick in wrestling history, and he is the second best big man in this sport's history.
Indeed.
So, on you go, mate. You're up.
Next story for you. Another legend could be missing the Royal Rumble. John Cena could well be out of this Sunday's Rumble
Comments
match.
are going to be really annoyed with you for calling John Cena a legend.
I mean, with that hair,
He is.
He's a legend in and of himself, and he's got JBL, another legend's hair on his head.
Legend of the banner and the wrestling.
Indeed. That Lightning Fist could have cleaned house at this year's Royal Rumble, but he may well be missing it because he suffered an ankle injury on last week's Monday Night Raw. Although, just like Love, this could be a work,
Yes.
according to PW Insider,
Yes, it
because
could.
John Cena is off to film a new movie from the start of February to the first week of April, which will be done just in time for WrestleMania. So who knows? Maybe he could be at the Rumble, or they're just making this stuff up.
Yeah, so I think Mike Johnson reported it was going to be the 4th of February until the 1st of April, something like that. Obviously, that doesn't overlap directly with the Royal Rumble, which is the 27th of January. This Sunday, the Royal Rumble is this Sunday.
So excited.
Can't wait, it's the best pay-per-view of the year. But it makes sense that Cena wouldn't want to risk injury before perhaps going off and filming a big movie. That is going to be the next phase of his career when this wrestling thing is finally done. The one thing about this is that they've only announced 19 men for the match. If they pull Cena out, they'll still have 12 spots to fill. That's a lot. Now, obviously, they'll tick a few of these boxes on SmackDown this week, but that's a very high potential for a lot of surprises.
I like
match.
that. I'm not a huge fan of them announcing a lot of people. You can sort of assume various members of the roster are going to be in it. I doubt Seth Rollins saying, I'm going to be in the Rumble, shocked anyone.
Yeah.
I just like seeing people we haven't seen in ages turn up. To mix it up a little bit. I think, you know, it's awful when you have sort of 26 members of the current roster and then the odd star. I'd like not just old wrestlers to come back, but a lot of NXT talent to get a bit of a showcase at the Rumble.
And speaking of someone who's going to get a showcase at the Rumble, making her in-ring return for the first time since October 2018, as announced on last night's Raw, Alexa Bliss. So she's obviously been cleared to compete again after her concussion issues, and she announced it on her Moment of Bliss talk segment after a big brawl featuring almost everyone in the match. And then, like, Lacey Evans came down and said that she'd be in it too. But the big story here is Bliss. We haven't seen her wrestle on TV or pay-per-view since Hell in a Cell. That was the mid-September pay-per-view when she
did the odd
faced
house
Alexa
show
Bliss.
following that, didn't she?
She did 2 house show tag matches, but she didn't actually wrestle in them. So she was technically in the match, but she didn't take any bumps. So this has been a long-running thing. We've seen her slotted into a number of non-wrestling roles, which of course she is very good at. but she was always going to want to get back to this.
Yeah, at the end of the day, her bread and butter is in between the ropes. Fantastic to hear her being in the Rumble match. I still doubt this is going to change the betting for who people think is going to win this. It's still going to be between somehow Becky Lynch
and Big Chaz.
And Big Chaz. And of course, that means Alexa Bliss is now going to get to play with Nikki.
Hey, Tucky! That's all this does of it.
Yes, fantastic news that she's going to be back for the Royal Rumble, and I mean, it's not exactly the safest place to come back to, but it's going to get a huge pop when her music hits.
Yeah, I mean, it does mean she's going to take at least one bump, but I guess they could do it in a safe way. Maybe she's on the apron and she just gets knocked off by someone. It'll just be good to see her back. I mean, she's probably not going to win it because of what you've just described, but the division has kind of missed her. I know she's not the best wrestler, but as an all-round performer, it's kind of missed her personality. She's a great heel. She's a great antagonist for super serious types like Ronda Rousey. Obviously, we've seen that feud before, and maybe Alexa won't be so keen to get back in the ring after those concussions. Anyway,
indeed.
But it's good news.
Yeah, let's hope this is a catalyst for her to build to a great match at WrestleMania. Our final news story of the day concerns all of the disgruntled WWE talent we've been hearing about. All the people we've all been speculating, basically, could be going to AEW. And Shagger Dave Meltzer is reporting that apparently WWE are going to push all the talent, well, not all the talent at the same time, but push many of the stars that are unhappy with their position on the card to make sure that they try and stay with WWE, of course. There's a lot of talk about contract situations and frozen contracts and holding them out until their contract just basically runs out. But also, WWE want to push their stars across the board to make them look like the big hotshot company, and everyone else looks like the minor leagues.
Yeah, I believe Dave's exact sentence was something along the lines of they want to look like the major league and they want to make everything else seem like an indie, which is kind of weird because, like, New Japan, AEW, and Ring of Honor are objectively not independent promotions. They're funded by, like, multi-million-dollar media companies, in AEW's case, billion. So it's kind of a weird little image to be projecting, but there's a lot to unpack with this. We could probably spend about 10 minutes talking about this, but I think it's a dangerous move. Anyone who says they're unhappy could now theoretically go up to Vince McMahon and go, hey, I'm unhappy. And he goes, sure, pal, here's a push. And, like, that sets a dangerous precedent. There's also the idea that they're just going to throw all this money in these card positions at guys for a false idea of what the company actually is, and I'm not too sure that's particularly healthy.
Well, let's look at the Revival. They complained, they allegedly asked for their release last week, and now they've got a big money feud against Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder.
Yeah, can't wait for that. I don't know if you caught last week's 205 Live, but they're sort of owning the disgruntlement in a really weird way. So TJP had tweeted something like, I'm not going to do what I'm told. That's how he speaks. And like a few weeks ago,
apparently,
tried to get himself fired. And he did a segment where he was like, hey, Drake Maverick, whatever, man. Like, brushing him off and stuff. And then Maria Kanellis did a segment where she complained to Drake Maverick about flying her and Mike in every week, but not using them. What the hell are they doing? Are they trying to turn this into a shoot? I don't know, it's really
probably.
weird.
Let's be honest, this is WWE at the end of the day. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions for today. Don't forget you can tweet at us at WhatCulture WWE. We spoke about The Undertaker earlier. Alex Swanson asks, who will The Undertaker face at WrestleMania this year?
Oh, hopefully nobody. I mean, like, I just don't want to see the guy wrestle again ever. Like, he deserves the Hall of Fame. I think he probably will wrestle for one. He's The Undertaker. He's a WrestleMania institution. I know he's not going to be around much in the build, but probably John Cena after last year's farce.
Yeah,
maybe.
I was going to say John Cena. If you're going to have him, I'm going to say let's just get this over and done with, do the match, pass the torch, The Undertaker versus The Demon.
Yeah, I mean, that works as well. It would be a better match as well.
Look, I think Finn could sell very well for The Undertaker and help him as much as he can.
Although, I'm just really worried. Like, WrestleMania 33, like, Roman Reigns, say what you think about him as a performer. I think he's a fantastic in-ring performer. He could not make The Undertaker look good, and I'd worry about Finn as well. I honestly don't think Finn Balor's as good as Roman Reigns.
For all the platitudes that people
going to be popular.
said about The Undertaker following that match, I just couldn't help this overwhelming sense of disappointment.
It was very sad.
I just want to kind of wrap this up and, you know, a big showcase match, either against John Cena, where they have more than 2 minutes or whatever it was, or against Finn Balor as I said, passing of the torch, like people
that
saying
would work.
I'm fine with that. Right, the next question comes from Harrison Naylor, who says, do you think there'll be an us versus them mentality from AEW fans towards WWE talent who eventually join the new promotion?
Yeah, perhaps. I think there's already an us versus them mentality from WWE fans towards AEW. Like, a lot of people only grew up with WWE as a monopoly. They don't know what competition is, and they have this bunker mentality. As far as WWE wrestlers coming in, I think most AEW fans will be very welcoming of them. I think they'll look at guys like the Revival who could potentially come across and go, well, we know you're very good, you just haven't been able to show it within Vince McMahon's organization, and we will give you that chance. I don't think they'll be too dismissive of them, put it that way, as regards to people coming in.
My thought is initially they won't be, but my concern, if I was a fan of AEW and there was this constant stream of people making the leap, is that people are just seeing it almost akin to WCW as an easy payday of jumping ship, demand more money, and then just sort of coast once you get to AEW. That would be my concern. But initially, I think AEW fans will be happy to see, especially if they can pluck talent rather than, as other organisations used to, just pick up the scraps. I think they'd be welcomed with open arms. Final question comes from @ShieldsChildren on Twitter, who says, will they do another Titus World Slide moment at the Rumble? Just announced that Titus O'Neil is going to be in this year's Men's Royal Rumble match.
Yes, definitely, 100%. Michael Cole mentioned it on commentary on the show. It's his thing now.
Yeah, it's definitely his thing. They obviously did the comedy immediately after the Greatest Royal Rumble where he couldn't get into the ring. My only concern with this, aside from the fact I think Titus O'Neil might win this year's Royal Rumble, is when they did that accidentally, it was hilarious, as we all know. When they tried to recreate it on Raw, it was blatant and not as funny. And the only previous spot that Titus O'Neil has had in a Royal Rumble, he was meant to have the fastest elimination ever, and it took him 4 seconds to get out of the ring. So
they're going to
expect big things, but don't anticipate that WWE or Titus are possibly going to be able to deliver them. And it hurts me to say that.
Yeah, it won't be good. It'll be terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, excited for the Royal Rumble nonetheless. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and it's less a jokey story today and more a fact of the day for you. You can take this with you.
Never do that again.
I have not researched this fully, but I've taken it from Reddit Squared Circle, which is gospel to me. Did you know, Andy Murray, that
by the way.
the Asuka, thank you, the Asuka versus Becky Lynch at this year's Royal Rumble is the first women's title match on pay-per-view since they dropped the word diva to not feature someone with blonde hair. That is a hot fact of the day for you. So, rack your brains. The first women's title match not to feature someone with blonde hair on pay-per-view since they dropped the word diva.
It sounds made up, but the more I think about it, it's clearly not.
If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments section. Not my fault. I just looked at Reddit Squared Circle before we came in here. But I liked it, and I thought it'd be something useful to pepper your day with. So let me know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out our new wrestling podcast by searching for What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes or Spotify. Loads of great stuff up there, including yesterday's interview with Booker T, all about the Royal Rumble, AEW, and his thoughts on the Hulk Hogan situation. My thanks to, what was it, Dollar Store Simon Miller figure?
Interchangeable something, SJW words.
My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.